The world is not unusually cruel to you. It is simply refusing to obey your preferences. And most people never recover from that distinction, because they think their suffering comes from pain, setbacks, delays, difficult people, uncertainty, loss, bad timing, unfair treatment, and the general roughness of reality. Cleanthes would say something harsher. Much of your suffering does not come from life being hard. It comes from your demand that life should have been easier. That is the deeper wound, not the event itself. The protest against the event, not the fact that it rained on the day you wanted sun. The belief that it should have arranged itself around your plan, not the loss alone. The inner refusal that says this should not be happening to me, not the delay alone. The outrage that says I was supposed to be further by now, not the difficult person alone. The expectation that the world should have removed them for your convenience. This is where so many people destroy their own strength. They do not merely experience reality. They argue with it. Constantly, silently, emotionally. Sometimes, for years. Cleanthes understood something that modern people still do not want to hear. Reality does not negotiate with your preferences. The weather does not care about your mood. Time does not care about your plans. Other people do not organize their character around your comfort. The world does not pause because you feel misunderstood. Life does not become softer because you are tired of being tested. And the person who cannot accept this lives in a permanent state of internal friction. That friction is exhausting because it takes one hard event and turns it into two burdens. The first burden is the thing itself. The second burden is the mind's rebellion against the thing. The diagnosis, the delay, the rejection, the unfairness, the uncertainty, the disappointment. Then comes the second layer. Why is this happening? Why now? Why me? This should not be happening. I did not deserve this. Life is against me. Things were supposed to go differently. And that second layer often weighs more than the first. Cleanthes would tell you that people are worn down not only by what happens, but by the continuous demand that what happened should have taken another form. That demand is poison, because it makes peace impossible. If peace depends on reality becoming softer, cleaner, fairer, more predictable, more convenient, more respectful of your plans, then peace will remain rare. Why? Because reality is under no obligation to become easier in order for you to become stronger. That is the whole point. The mature person stops asking life to shrink the challenge. They expand their capacity. That is endurance. Not pretending pain does not exist. Not becoming numb. Not glorifying suffering. Endurance is the refusal to collapse just because reality did not flatter your expectations. This is why Cleanthes matters so much. He represents a kind of strength that modern culture has almost forgotten. Not the strength of domination. Not the strength of performance. Humble. Not the strength of appearing unbothered. The strength of alignment. Alignment with what is. That phrase sounds simple until you understand what it costs. It costs the fantasy that life is supposed to feel fair all the time. It costs the fantasy that your effort guarantees timing. It costs the fantasy that good intentions guarantee easy outcomes. It costs the fantasy that being wounded by reality means reality has wronged you personally. Cleanthes would say the person who keeps demanding fairness from existence remains a child inside an adult body, because reality does not function as a parent. It does not distribute difficulty according to who feels ready. It does not wait for your confidence. It does not ask whether today is a good day for discomfort. It simply moves. And the stronger person is not the one who resents this least dramatically. It is the one who learns to move with it. That is a different kind of power. Most people think power means control. Control of outcomes. Control of conditions. Control of people. Control of timing. Control of reputation. Control of how things unfold. Cleanthes would say that this obsession with control is exactly what makes people weak. Because when you build your emotional life around controlling what was never yours to control, every disruption feels like an attack on your identity. You do not merely face difficulty. you feel insulted by it. And once difficulty feels insulting, growth slows down, because now you are no longer dealing with reality. You are dealing with wounded expectation. That is why some people remain bitter for years after one loss, one betrayal, one failure, one disappointment. Not because the event never ended, because the argument with the event never ended. They kept replaying the contract reality never signed. I was supposed to get more time. I was supposed to be understood. I was supposed to be chosen. I was supposed to be rewarded by now. I was supposed to be spared this level of difficulty. Cleanthes tears that contract up. The world owes you no easy days. That is not pessimism. That is liberation. Because the moment you stop expecting special exemption from difficulty, you stop being shocked by the ordinary structure of existence. And that matters. Because shock drains strength. Every time life becomes hard and you respond as if hardness itself is a violation, you lose energy twice. First to the event, then to your outrage that the event exists. But the person who accepts difficulty as part of the terms of being alive becomes harder to destabilize. Not because nothing hurts them, because pain no longer feels like proof that reality is broken. This is a massive shift. It means the bad day is a bad day, not a cosmic insult. The delay is a delay, not a referendum on your worth. The difficult person is a difficult person, not a sign that the universe is targeting you. The hard season is a hard season, not evidence that your life has gone fundamentally wrong. Once you stop personalizing the roughness of existence, your nervous system changes. You waste less energy on disbelief. You waste less time on complaint. You waste less life demanding softness from a world built partly out of resistance, and then something powerful happens. Your attention comes back. That is one of the least understood consequences of acceptance. Acceptance is not passive. It is energy recovery. When you stop fighting what is already real, you reclaim the strength that was bleeding into protest. That strength can now be used to act, to adapt, to endure, to decide clearly, to rebuild, to continue. This is why the person who accepts reality often looks stronger than the person who resists it, even if both suffered the same event. The acceptor has one war. The resistor has two. And the second war is self-created. Cleanthes would tell you to end it, not because life will become kind, because your rebellion against reality is making you weaker than the event itself ever could. That is the brutal lesson. The world did not ruin you by refusing to be easy. You are often being ruined by your insistence that it should have been. This shows up everywhere. In the athlete who resents the grind instead of being shaped by it. In the worker who wants reward without long obscurity. In the person who wants love without vulnerability. In the thinker who wants clarity without confusion. In the wounded person who wants healing without patience. In the ambitious person who wants greatness without repetition, boredom, delay, and self-doubt. Everybody wants the fruit. Fewer want the climate that grows it. Cleanthes would say the climate is the point. Difficulty is not always an interruption to the path. Often it is the path. Not because all suffering is noble. Not because all pain is meaningful. But because resilience is not built in theory. It is built in contact. Contact with pressure. Contact with inconvenience. Contact with uncertainty. Contact with the parts of life that refuse to bend just because you would prefer them to. This is also why complaint is so seductive. Complaint gives emotional release without requiring growth. It lets you feel temporarily righteous without becoming stronger. And the more a person lives inside complaint, the more they train themselves to experience life as something happening against them rather than through them. That mindset destroys initiative. Because if reality is always the enemy, then agency starts to shrink. You begin to wait for life to become fair enough before you act with strength. That day never comes. So Cleanthes offers a harder, cleaner standard. Do not wait for softer conditions. Become less easily disturbed by hard ones. That is real maturity, not getting your preferred life. Becoming capable inside the life you actually have. And that does not mean settling. It means starting from truth. Truth about the weather. Truth about people. Truth about timing. Truth about loss. Truth about effort. Truth about the structure of reality itself. The world includes friction. The world includes unfairness. The world includes pain, misunderstanding, delay, fatigue, limitation, and things ending before you are ready. If you build your expectations without that truth, your whole emotional life becomes fragile. But if you build with that truth, you become much harder to break. Not because you become cold, because you stop being surprised by the cost of being alive. That is what endurance really is. It is not hardness for its own sake. It is the refusal to make ordinary reality feel like a personal betrayal. And that refusal changes everything. It changes how you handle setbacks. It changes how you interpret delays. It changes how long you stay trapped in resentment. It changes whether you grow inside difficulty or merely accuse it. So if you feel stuck in bitterness, complaint, inner protest, or quiet rage that life has not been softer, simpler, fairer, more generous, or more aligned with your plans would give you an answer that feels almost offensive at first. The world was never required to be gentle in order for you to become great inside it. And once that lands, you stop waiting for reality to improve your life for you. You start becoming the kind of person who can carry more reality without falling apart. That is not a smaller hope. It is a stronger one. And in the end, that is the lesson. Do not ask the world to owe you easy days. Ask yourself whether you are becoming strong enough to meet the difficult ones without surrendering your mind. That is the shift. That is the freedom. That is Cleanthes.